Hello friends, today we'll consider the topic of food safety. It comprises of food hygiene as well as prevention of food adulteration. The competency of today's lecture is CM 5.8. At the end of this session, you should be able to differentiate between food additives, what is food fortification and what are food toxicants. You should be able to define and describe the concept of food adulteration with appropriate examples. You should be able to denote or define, describe the functions and responsibility of FSSAI, as well as you should be able to define or describe the safety requirements for handling some of the important food articles in especially in the industry. The current topic can be asked for large questions or a part of a large questions, MCQs, short answer questions for 2 marks, or this can be asked during Viva. These are the some suggestions for further reading. First, we'll start with food additives. The word food additive is a self-explanatory word. What means additive? Additive means something that is added. Understand this, these are the substances which are not normally consumed. That means it is not necessarily they are poisonous or dangerous, but they are not normally consumed by itself, but they are added in the food for the purpose of helping during manufacturing, processing, preparation, treatment, packaging, transport or storage of food. That is overall use of the food for utilizing the food stuff appropriately and in the best possible manner. These can be useful, these are added. Similarly, they maintain quality and freshness, or else lastly to make the food appealing or more interesting to eat. More people may uh, more are will be more likely to accept due to these additives. The additives are the example of additives are acids, acidity regulators, antioxidants like vitamin C, bulking agents. Here, without affecting much nutritional value, we just want to add the bulk of the food stuff. Similarly, food colors. This is the most common. The colors are very most common. There are some natural colors like orange, and remember that these are added to the juice or whatever food is prepared from the that food stuff in order to give that impression that the natural fruit or food is directly used for the cooking purpose, or has is directly converted into something beautiful during the cooking. This is not generally the case. So orange color is generally added to the orange juice. Similarly, there are many emulsifiers, specifically flavors, then preservatives, stabilizers, and sweeteners. Currently, artificial sweeteners are on very high. Many people prefer them over the regular sugars. That is why these are regularly used. The food additives are generally harmless, but in specific condition like in children's where blood-brain barrier is not developed properly, these can result in certain kind of the issues. Especially if you read some on the packets of chips or even in the packets of fast food, that it is generally stated that avoid for children under 3 years of age. Why that is the case? Because of the blood brain barrier has not been developed. Similarly, it has resulted in exacerbation of allergic reactions. So pruritus, urticaria, angioedema, asthma, it may be may be caused due to some additives. Some additives like MAG have been linked but not proven that they aggravate or accelerate Huntington chorea, Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. Many of the additives, especially colors and flavoring agents, have been linked with carcinogenic effects in the lab animals, especially lab rats, but they are not being proven for of harmful effects on the humans. Food fortification. WHO has defined food fortification as a process whereby nutrients are added to the foods, especially in very small quantities, to maintain or improve the quality of diet of group, community, or the population. So basically, what is the food protection? Food protection is adding some nutrition to the existing food, prepared food, in order to increase its nutritive value, in order to make it more beneficial to the community. That is known as food fortification. The best example is adding iodine to the salt. This is the commonest example. This food fortification is an important public health tool. It is being used in a large scale. Okay, it is a very cost effective method. Especially we design the methods which are cost effective and beneficial to the community as a whole. uh, Food fortification is generally done, or there are three approaches in the food fortification: mass food fortification, targeted food fortification, and market driven food fortification. What is mass food fortification? Here we find a food that is consumed by almost all the entire population. Then that food is compulsorily fortified with desired nutrition, and hence it reaches all the people in the community. What is the best example? Best example is the iodine used of iodized salt in order to prevent goiter. So what are the prerequisites for this mass food fortification? Mass food fortification can be possible if the large number of people consume that food in a sufficient quantity. This is very important. Secondly, whatever nutrient are you are adding, it should not reduce the quality of food, it should not make it undesirable, and it should not increase or pose a risk to large chunk of population. Okay, at least substantial chunk of population. So for that purpose, mass approach has to be very carefully designed. Okay, and lastly and least, your food fortification should not render food very expensive that it will be out of reach of most of the beneficiaries. So if suppose the iodization of the salt would have increased the rate of the salt by 10 folds, then what would happen? Poor people would not have used it. So basically its function and whole purpose would have been defeated. That is why mass approach are very targeted. Sorry, mass approach have to be designed very carefully, and it has to be actually beneficial to large number of people. Now, targeted. What is targeted food fortification strategies? These are designed particular population or group. So, complementary foods for infants and young children, foods designed for pregnant and lactating mothers, and then for emergency foods. Okay, here micronutrients are added, as well as in many cases the food is made more energy dense, so in less quantity it should be able to give better nutrition. So this is the targeted approach. Now, and third or the last is a market driven. Here the manufacturers add by themselves some nutritives to their foods. The government has not made them compulsory, but manufacturer add them to make their product stand out. So you must have heard the ads like हमारे चॉकलेट में विटामिन मिनरल्स है, या आइसक्रीम में कैल्शियम है, और ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सो generally these are market driven. These are to attract the customer. These can be also very helpful, and these are also part of a public health Now, what are the food toxicants? These are any toxic or poisonous substance that is either a inherent part of the food, that is that food or that food grain or that food stuff is in nature as such poisonous, or it is accidentally or deliberately added it to produce toxic effect over the body. So either it is a part of that food stuff or it is added to that food. These are the some type of examples of food toxicants. These are the inherent toxicants. So some type of bananas have 5-hydroxytryptamine, some cheese have tyramine, sometimes almond or cassava have cyanides. So all these are the examples. For you, examples important are the argemone oil, which contains sanguinarine and it causes epidemic dropsy. Second is kesari dal or Lathyrus sativus. It contains the toxicant as beta oxalyl aminoalanine. It can lead to neurothism. Okay. And groundnuts develop aflatoxin. So when the groundnuts are not stored properly, they obtain moisture. There is a fungus that is developed. It is known as aflatoxin toxicosis. It causes aflatoxicosis. Now, what is adulteration? Generally, when we hear the word adulteration, we think that adding something that is dangerous or useless to a food stuff, just like adding stones in food grains to increase its weight. Okay, this is absolutely correct. This definition is not wrong, but it is not complete. Article is said to be adulterate if it is not of nature, substance or quality as demanded by purchaser. It contains other substances that affect injuriously the nature and substance and quality of food is hampered. It it is substituted by inferior or cheaper substances. Any food, any constituent of the food has been abstracted, and if it contains any poisonous ingredient. So it is a wide variety of things that come under umbrella of adulteration. A person, even if mislabels something, if he says it's a 500 grams and it is a 450 grams, then the product is adulterated. Similarly, adding something that is dangerous, all these come under the adulteration. So here are the examples of adulteration. So black pepper contains papaya seed, ghee contains vanaspati, and all these things. So you can pause. Now the food hygiene. For maintenance of food hygiene, Food Safety and Standards Act came into existence in 2006. It replaced previous act of Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. So this was the latest legislation. It has created or laid down standards for articles of foods. Similarly, standards to regulate their manufacturing, storage, distribution, sale, and import. Okay. So this body FSSAI underlooks all the food safety and standards in India. Now the functions of this body which we are considering, this can this can come as a short note as such. So you should be able to state which act or which legislation under which FSSAI was formed, what is its central body, what is its core committee, and then what are its functions. So first an important function is devising the food standards. What should be standards for every type of food? Maybe it may be street food, it may be packaged food, it may be imported food, it may be exported goods. So what should be the standards of the food? These are designed by the FSSAI, and they enforce those rules. They cross check whether these rules are being enforced or not. Similarly, every district in this country has a public health lab now, almost all. So these public health lab are set up by government of their respective states. But who decides what are the tests that has to be conducted? What are the how the quality control for the test is maintained, and so on. So who decides that? This is done by FSSAI. They give technical support and advice to the government in matter of food safety and security also. Then their task is continuous vigilance, continuous monitoring, continuous surveillance in order to identify emerging risk and rapidly alert the system. Okay. Then they collect the data regarding food consumption, incidence and prevalence of biological risk, contamination of food in food. All the data is collected regularly and that is analyzed, and from them the government can actually see what is the picture and what it need to be done. Okay. Manpower training is very important. All the manpower, right from the basic bottom to the topmost, they have to be trained, and that training schedule is developed by FSSAI. Similarly, the role or functioning of FSSAI does not stay here. They also work with international bodies. There they help in development of technical standards. And overall health education and general awareness of the people is also important for FSSAI.